Hey, it's Midnight Raven, and today I want to do a video about DVDs. Now, it might sound a bit retro, as they call it now, that you have Amazon Prime and Netflix and Shudder and all these other online streaming services. But I like going to car boots, picking up DVDs, and watching it kind of old school. So during COVID, I've recently moved house. And as I'm a single parent now, I live with my 18-year-old. He obviously isn't around a lot, so I spend quite a lot of my time at the minute during the whole COVID thing at home. And I found that I have an immense amount of DVDs, and I've actually bought some to resell as well, which I'm going to do in a video very, very soon. I have like 200 DVDs I bought, and I have been watching them before I sell them, mostly to make sure that each disc works. So I thought a way of watching them to know if they work before I sell them. So I've watched a variety of DVDs. Some of these are my own, some of these are in with the haul that I've got coming up, where I'm going to have to do it in light sections because it's going to be such a big haul. So I'm going to show you some of the stuff I've been watching. You can comment down below if you've seen these, and if you haven't seen them. There'll be a spoiler alert that there will be spoilers possibly, so if you haven't seen any of these movies and you don't want to know what happens, maybe skip forward to the next one. So let's start with some DVDs that are comedies. So this is a really old school one, and this is Ben Elton's The Blue Line. You remember this came out on TV originally. Stars Rowan Atkinson, and it's every episode of season 1 and 2. You've got Rowan Atkinson, which is obviously a really good comedian, also known as Mr. Bean when he's doing a different act. And it's written by Ben Elton, who also wrote The Young Ones, I believe. So it's a really good writer. Basically, it's set in a police station. You have the normal police, you have the CID, and the ongoings in a police station. And it's really funny. So I would highly recommend checking that out if you want a laugh. Next TV series that I watched that came on the BBC was Bottom. So you got Abe Edmondson and Rick Mayall, who appeared in many comedies over the year, including The Young Ones. Rick Mayall also featured in Filthy Rich and Cat Flap, I believe it's called that. And obviously, they're both known for their comedic value. And they did 3 TV series at one point. They also did loads of live shows, and they also had their own movie called Guest House Paradiso, which isn't the greatest film. But I watched it recently, and you can actually watch it currently, I believe, on Netflix. But they also did loads of live shows, but you can get all 3 seasons, and they each contain about 6 episodes, so it's not a very big series, but then the live shows and everything just made it bigger, and then they even had a movie. So if you like kind of swearing, offbeat humour, maybe somewhat violent, these are for you. They are a 15, so keep in mind. Next, more comedy. Now, recent comedy would be Mrs. Brown's Boys. If you haven't watched any of Mrs. Brown's Boys, you've been in like a cave. The Mrs. Brown's Boys TV series, the Let's Talk Mrs. Brown, her like talking TV series, aside from the live shows as well, and the fact they always do Christmas ones. I've watched 2 so far, including Mrs. Brown the movie, which I can't find at the minute, probably The Boys. But I've watched Mrs. Brown's Mummy's Tickled Pink, and I also watched Mrs. Brown's Christmas Cracker. Both of these were really funny. They're kind of a weird humour to them. You've also got Mammy's Gamble on this one, and then this one is 3 Christmas specials in one. So I've watched both of them. Obviously, Mrs. Brown is a man dressed in a dress, and most of the people that feature in the TV series are also relatives and relations, which means it's kind of like a family thing. If you haven't seen Mrs. Brown's Boys, then you really need to spend a night watching the TV series or try and watch one of the live shows because you won't be disappointed. Okay, more TV series. This is from oh so long ago, and this is Sex and the City. I've watched these series many, many times. They have 6 seasons, I believe it is, and they also have 2 movies, which I own all of them. But I sat here the other night and started re-watching it, and some of their views about men today would be totally different back then. This was filmed kind of like an interview style, and then as the series went on, they changed to concentrate on just the 4 main characters. You've got Miranda, Charlotte, Carrie, and I forgot the other woman, Sam or Samantha, as they go around and you go through all their trials, tribulations, mainly to do with men, sex, and relationships, but they also do go into women's issues as well. And it's really fun. But there are like 6 seasons, I believe, and 2 movies. Next, some more comedy. I've watched Russell Howard's Live. Now, this is an old show. I believe it's not one of his oldest, but it's fairly old. And this is the live here right now. Now, this was absolutely hilarious. I've had this for like a year or two, and I didn't watch it. But this is from 2011. I picked this up in like a cheap video place. They were 3 for a 10 or 3.99 each, and I'd had it for like a year and forgotten about it, and then rewatched it watched it the other day, and it was so funny. He literally makes me die of laughter. His enthusiasm and his jokes are so real, so true to life. It is a kind of short show. It's not one of his longest, but it's really funny. If you don't know who Russell Howard is, he's had a TV series going for a while. He did like an online TV series for COVID to try and keep everyone smiling. So Russell Howard is one of my favourite comedians. I've also watched this. A lot of people won't know who T-Rex are in this day and age, but this is the revised second edition inside T-Rex. Now, they were a glam rock slash punk band from the 70s, and this depicts their entire rise to fame and their fall to fame, and then their rise again before Mark Bolan's death in 77. It goes through all their albums, it tells you about the albums, how he tried to break America, and how eventually his demise, after his girlfriend crashed a car into a tree and he instantly died, unfortunately, after regaining somewhat of his mojo and his enthusiasm to go back into music after having setbacks, and unfortunately never getting to see what happened from then on. It's a really good autobiography. It features all his songs like Hot Love, Get It On, Jeepster, I Love to Boogie, and my personal favourite, Metal Guru, and tells you all about the albums and how he made them, and it's a really good biopsy, and you should really watch it if you love T-Rex. Then we had some horror. So up until now we've had comedy and light-hearted, and let's get into horror. This is my favourite genre, I have to say. So I watched 13 Ghosts last night. This is like the 8th or 9th time I've watched this movie now. Now, if you don't know what 13 Ghosts, it basically features the Black Zodiac, which is a kind of dark way to look at a movie, but you need 12 ghosts and a 13th ghost, and you basically open a portal to hell. Yeah. So this poor family, who happens to be a relative of Kritikos, who is the guy that is entrapping these souls in a glass house for his own benefit, imprisons this family in there with the use of using their mother's dead soul to power this machine. And it's, I don't want to spoil it, but if you haven't seen this, it's definitely a watch. The ghosts are really cool. And if you go into the special features, it actually tells you about each one of the actual ghosts in more detail because you don't find out a lot during the movie. So the special features is really worth a watch. It's not a very long film, but it is a really good film, and the special effects and the costumes and everything, it just makes it worth watching. The other one I watched was called From Hell. Now, this features Johnny Depp, obviously. I watch a lot of films with Johnny Depp, and Heather Graham, I haven't watched a lot of films with her, but this is to do with the Jack the Ripper story. Now, Jack the Ripper was apparently hired to clean up an incident where the prince slept with a prostitute and got pregnant, making the kid an heir to the throne, and they wanted the heir to the throne taken out of the picture. So they took the girl and put her in an insane asylum, took the baby, which they couldn't get because she'd already been hidden, but then they killed everybody else who knew about the prince's affair, and the prostitutes were slowly being taken down one by one, but he chose to do it in his own unique way, which caused a ruckus and many murders ensued. And it's Johnny Depp, or Avalone as he's known, to sort out the incident and clean it up. It's a really good thing if you like Jack the Ripper and historical horrors. It's a really good movie. So another movie that's really interesting, and it's not really a horror, it's more like a psychological thriller, and that is Robin Williams' 1 Hour Photo. So I watched this again last night, and it's a truly deeply scary film, which in some part is true. He basically works in a 1 hour photo shop in a mall, and basically he's been taking copies of a certain family's pictures every time they come in. Instead of ordering one copy, he's ordered a copy for himself, which he then takes home and puts on a wall in his flat. He tries to integrate himself into the family as much as possible by reading the same books, getting the kid a birthday present. He then finds, and here's the spoiler, that the husband of the wife is having an affair because he spots a picture of them having an affair. Um, he then wants to shock the husband into going back with his wife, I believe, and a thing ensues, which you'll have to wait to see if you haven't watched the movie. But he gives such a good performance. Robin Williams is such a great actor, and this one, although I don't like it as much as some of his other works, like Patch Adams, it's a really good watch for like a first time lover of Robin Williams. Then I just have two more, so I won't bore you. But I will be watching some more films and I will bring you a part two if you liked this. Today, literally before making this, I watched Sleepy Hollow. This is Johnny Depp and Christina Ricci, who I haven't seen in a lot of films apart from Addams Family, which is a shame because she's a really good actress. Heads will roll, Sleepy Hollow. So this is basically the tale of the Headless Horseman. The Headless Horseman's head was stolen, and he's controlled by someone who I won't spoil, and is sent out to kill people to replace the head that he has lost as it's being held to ransom, basically. It's Johnny Depp, who is Ichabod Crane's job, to find out why why the people were decapitated and the story behind the Headless Horseman. It said you'll be hard pushed to find a more interesting, terrifying 2 hours of pure entertainment. It does have a couple of twists and turns in it, so it is a really good watch. It's not a very long movie. Again, it's 101 minutes, but it is a really good watch. So any fans of Johnny Depp will enjoy this. And then we have one last one, and yes, it does feature Johnny Depp. So if you're bored of Johnny Depp, you can turn off now. But this film is really good, and it's called The Secret Window. Now, this is really cool. So this, again, is Johnny Depp at his best, and it says some windows should never be opened. So the story behind this is that he creates what he believed is a story and someone else claims that he stole it. Now, you go through the entire film with this other guy claiming that Johnny Depp stole a story that he wrote, but Johnny Depp can prove he wrote it many years before. But as the movie goes on, it shows that a couple of people died. I won't spoil who dies, but they die throughout the movie. And then at the end, there is a twist that you don't see coming. You also have his wife, who he caught in bed with another person, which also infuels his mind, and he kind of loses it. He creates this persona called John Shooter, who he claims is the person that's stealing his work, and it's a real psychotic thriller. It's got so many twists and turns in it, and Johnny Depp once again plays a really good actor in it. So they were everything I've watched over the last week. Obviously with lockdown, I've had loads of free time, and like I said, I've bought so many DVDs recently to sell on eBay in a great big job lot that I'm going to show you them at some point. I'm trying to work out how I'm going to show you 200 DVDs, whether to break it down into like 50 in each video and quickly run through them, or to like bang them off all in like 2 videos. So if you have any idea how you'd like me to film them, it's about 200 DVDs. They're kids and adults. I might do the kids in a separate video and then split the adult ones into like 2 or 3. Before I see more of these, I plan to watch a lot more DVDs in the coming weeks. With lockdown being lifted slightly, I haven't still been going out as much as I would normally. I still feel a bit like I need to be a bit safer. I have a low immune system, and with it still going around, I like to keep myself safe. So if you want to see more of these, give a big thumbs up. Thank you to everyone who's liking and subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you very soon for a video very soon. Take care and thanks for watching. Bye.